Okay, let's get into it. Today we're doing a deep dive into the core tension of the 1992 film Juice.
Mhm.
And we're really looking at it through the lens of its main character, Q.
Right.
Because this isn't just, a typical coming-of-age story. It's this high-stakes look at how ambition and, well, your identity clashes with a really demanding environment.
It really is. I mean, you sent over some excellent material on Q's struggle in Harlem, and it's all about that crushing social pressure.
Exactly.
So I think our mission here is to really pull out the key insights. We
Yep.
need to see how he balanced that, that immediate need to just survive with this personal goal he's holding on to so tightly.
And what that can tell us about breaking free from, I guess, from these really destructive definitions of respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have to start with Q himself. When you look at his crew, you got Bishop, Raheem, Steelkey, he immediately stands out.
He's the outlier for sure.
He's not the one driving the conflict. He's not looking for a fight. The sources make it so clear he's not the loudest or the toughest guy in the room.
No, he's the one quietly trying to build a different path for himself. A controlled path. He's putting in overtime just to keep his head down.
And that's a full-time job in itself, because the setting is everything here.
Oh, 100%. I mean, he's growing up in Harlem, surrounded by poverty, violence, and just this constant exhausting need to project strength to even exist.
That context isn't just background noise, is it? It really defines the entire moral landscape of the story.
It does. If respect equals safety and safety is, well, it's fleeting, then the hunt for respect becomes a life or death game.
And that's where we find Q at the start. He's genuinely trying to play both sides. One foot in his crew's world and the other one trying to stay focused on his future. He gets into just enough trouble, skipping school, boosting a few records.
It's enough to keep his social standing,
Right.
to show loyalty. But you can tell it's not who he is. He's managing two separate lives.
Yeah, and that's the core tension.
Yeah.
Because his real destination is, it's miles away from the street corner.
Right. It's his dream of becoming a DJ. The sources really point out that music is Q's sanctuary.
It's the one place where he has control.
Exactly. Real, actual control. When he's on the turntables, he's creating something. He's building harmony instead of just reacting to all the threats around him. That's his escape.
But the neighborhood has its own gravity, doesn't it? Can you really sustain that? Creating versus just reacting?
Well, the material says no. It's pretty explicit that you can't stay halfway in.
It forces a choice.
It always forces a choice.
Right.
The street demands everything or nothing. And that pressure point, that unavoidable drag, it arrives in the form of Bishop.
Ah, Bishop. He's the catalyst.
He is. He becomes obsessed with this very specific, very destructive idea that the only way to get juice, to get real respect, is with a gun.
So Q is trying to hold this fragile line, and Bishop just comes in and tries to smash it to pieces. Which brings us to the main idea of the film, Juice. What exactly is it? What's the conflict it represents?
I think if you boil it down, juice is just the street term for power, respect, and control.
Okay.
And Bishop's definition is that you get through fear, through violence. But Q's path, the DJ path, suggests that real control comes from, internal skill, from talent.
So the minute Bishop gets that gun, Q is forced into this impossible choice.
Instantly. It's loyalty to his friends versus loyalty to his own conscience. And his conscience is screaming that Bishop's way is a dead end.
And what's wild is how fast things unravel. Bishop gets the gun, and, the sources detail how he just starts to buckle under the weight of it.
It's not a slow descent at all.
No, it's immediate. You see the robbery, the violence that spirals out from it, and Bishop's whole mindset just shifts on a dime.
We really have to talk about that unraveling because it's what creates the psychological threat for Q. Bishop doesn't just get more violent, he gets paranoid.
Right. He needs absolute control over the gun, over the crew.
And that's when the threat shifts for Q. It's not just about gangs on the street anymore. It's coming from inside his own circle. It's psychological. Bishop is testing everyone, forcing Q into these awful situations.
And that's where the fight changes, right? It stops being about protecting his DJ equipment or his record collection. Yeah, he's fighting to physically survive after what happens to Raheem, but his real battle, it becomes moral survival.
Absolutely. Q's main fight is refusing to let that danger, that definition of the street, become who he is.
Bishop is basically trying to force Q to become him, to accept that violent view of power.
Yes, and Q is fighting to hold on to himself even as he's being dragged into this tragedy. He knows that if he gives in to Bishop's logic, the dream is dead. It's gone.
Okay, but let's push on that a little.
Right.
We're talking about his moral refusal, but at the very end, he does use violence to survive.
He does.
So doesn't that, in a really dark way, kind of prove Bishop's point? That in that world, violence is the only way to get control and survive.
That is the essential, terrifying question of the film, and it's a great point. But the sources are really specific here. Q's actions, in the end, are reactive. It's self-defense.
Forced by the ultimate betrayal.
The ultimate betrayal. Bishop frames him. He hunts him. Q is literally fighting for his life, which has been stripped of any future at that point. He's forced to play by Bishop's rules just to see tomorrow.
So the victory isn't that he won the fight.
No. The true victory is the internal refusal that comes after the fight.
And what makes it so much harder is that this threat is coming from someone he called a brother. He's wanted by the police. He's being hunted by his own friend. It just shows you the cost of accepting that street definition of juice. Loyalty ends up demanding you destroy yourself morally.
It really highlights his internal strength, though. I mean, even under all that pressure, framed for murder, fighting for his life, he doesn't become Bishop.
He holds that line.
He holds that line. And it shows just how hard it is to break free from that kind of environment, especially when the people you love are the ones trying to trap you in it.
So we get to the end. Q survives the confrontation. A physical win. But the sources are clear. He doesn't just walk away clean.
Not at all. He's carrying the weight of all of it. The loss, the randomness of the violence, the knowledge of what the street can do.
Which leads to maybe the most important moment in the whole film.
Oh, yeah. That single line that just encapsulates everything. Right after he survives, this random guy on the street sees the chaos, looks at Q and says,
"You got the juice now, man."
"You got the juice now?" It's chilling.
Because it's the street recognizing him, right? It's the neighborhood anointing him. He survived the ultimate test, so in their eyes, he earned the power.
But Q's reaction,
yeah,
that's the whole point. He dismisses it. He doesn't nod. He doesn't accept it.
He just shakes his head.
That is his final, clear rejection of their entire system. He is signaling that he refuses that definition of power no matter what it cost him to physically survive. He won't take the trophy.
And that refusal is what opens the die for his true victory.
Yes.
Which the film ends on. Q getting his remix played on the radio. He got the respect, the recognition, but he did it his way. Through his craft.
Yeah. And that moment just ties it all together so brilliantly. Q's true power, his real juice, came from his talent and his dedication, not from a weapon.
It's a testament to keeping your eyes on your own prize and just refusing to get sucked into those traps, even when they're disguised as respect.
Yeah.
So that really brings his whole journey into focus. His struggle was about resisting his environment's attempt to define him. He knew his juice wasn't something you take. It was something you build.
He chose to be defined by what he could create, not what he was forced to react to.
Exactly.
And the sources show us, he's survived the street, but he carried that experience with him. It's a scar.
So let me leave you with a final thought to chew on.
Go for it.
If Q hadn't dismissed that passerby's comment, if he had just nodded, or even just silently accepted that crown of street-defined juice, how would that have changed his success? How would it have compromised it? What's the unseen cost of getting respect that's defined solely by the toxic world you're trying to escape? It makes you think about what kind of baggage you carry, depending on the power you choose.